found a home yet?
No, no, into the apartment. It's crashed.
That's
It is a
easy.
down here.
No one is sitting in the chair. Yeah. Get to the chair. It's a little too big for me.
You sit. I do. No, I'm sitting. She's sitting.
I'm sitting in that one. Maybe she can come sit there, or I can move to the other side.
Okay. That's nice.
But then you'll be right behind me.
Yeah, I'll sit on top. I can see this.
Oh, I'm welcome.
Yeah, good to see you. Feeling better? Flu, huh? Yeah. Oh. How's everybody in your house?
Still sick.
Still sick?
Yeah.
Oh, that's too bad. It has to take its course, isn't it? Yeah.
The sound's not going, Swami.
Sound is fine.
Is it coming?
Ah.
It's not speaking. Oh, sorry.
Oh, here it is.
Is it there?
Yeah. Everyone is coughing. Outdoing one another. That's okay, James. Glad that you're here now. Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Saha Viryam Karavavahai Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Jagratsvapnasushuptishu sphutatara samvidujjrimbate. What's happening over there? Huh? Don't feel like chanting? Need some more time to find the page? Want me to repeat?
Yes.
All of the above?
Yes.
Okay. Jagrat swapna sushuptishu sphutatara ya samvidujjrimbate.
Jagrat swapna sushuptishu sphutatara ya samvidujjrimbate.
Very nice. Only thing missing is confidence. So again, Jagrat swapna sushuptishu sphutatara ya samvidujjrimbate.
Jagrat swapna
क्या बात है?
sushuptishu sphutatara ya samvidujjrimbate.
या ब्रह्मादिपिपीलिकान्ततनुषु या ब्रह्मादिपिपीलिकान्ततनुषु प्रोता जगत्साक्षिणी.
Purota jagat sakshini.
सैवाहं न च दृश्यवस्त्विति
सैवाहं न च दृश्यवस्त्विति
दृढप्रज्ञापि यस्यास्ति चेत्
दृढप्रज्ञापि यस्यास्ति चेत्
टुगेदर चण्डालोऽस्तु सतु द्विजोऽस्तु गुरुः इत्येषा मनीषा मम ब्रह्मैवाहमिदं जगच्च सकलम्
ब्रह्मैवाहमिदं जगच्छ सकलं
चिन्मात्रविस्तारितम्
चिन्मात्रविस्तारितं
सर्वं चैतदविद्यया त्रिगुणया
सर्वं चैतदविद्यया त्रिगुणया
शेषं मया कल्पितम्
शेषं मया कल्पितम्
इत्थं यस्य दृढा मतिः सुखतरे
इत्थं यस्य दृढा मतिः सुखतरे
नित्ये परे निर्मले
नित्ये परे निर्मले
चण्डालोऽस्तु सतु द्विजोऽस्तु गुरुः इत्येषा मनीषा मम शश्वन्नश्वरमेव विश्वमखिलम्
शश्वन्नश्वरमेव विश्वमखिलम्
वेरी गुड निश्चित्य वाचा गुरोः
निश्चित्य वाचा गुरोः
नित्यं ब्रह्म निरन्तरं विमृशता
नित्यं ब्रह्म निरन्तरं विमृशता
निर्व्याजशान्तात्मना
निर्व्याजशान्तात्मना
भूतं भावि च दुष्कृतं प्रदहता
भूतं भावि च दुष्कृतं प्रदहता
संविन्मये पावके
संविन्मये पावके
प्रारब्धाय समर्पितं स्ववपुः
प्रारब्धाय समर्पितं स्ववपुः
इत्येषा मनीषा मम यातिर्यं नरदेवताभिः Again, something happened there. Yatiryan naradevatabhihi ahamityantashphuta grihyate yadbhasa hridayakshadeha vishaya bhanti svato chetanaah tam bhasyaih pihitarkamandalanimbham स्फूर्तिं सदा भावयन् योगी निवृतमानसो हि गुरुः इत्येषा मनीषा मम. So we saw yesterday Yatiryam Naradevatabhihi. There is one I which is here known as Aham. Yeah. Why? Because that is the Sanskrit word for I. Simple. Why not call it Atma? Because the Adi Shankara here doesn't want you to get confused. He's talking about I. And so this is, I is always aparoksha. Aparoksha means ever ready, ever available. You don't have to look for the I, even though sometimes people say, where am I? So you don't have to look for the I. You don't need an existence certificate. Birth certificate, fine. The unborn I, ironically, is born. As though. So birth certificate, okay. And the social security number, okay. Then what else? Some other driving license, okay. Even though they are called proof of identity, they are not proving your identity. Really, your identity doesn't require proof. That which requires no proof is your identity. And what is the first letter of identity? I. That is your identity. That I doesn't require a certificate of existence. If you go to Social Security office and say, please give me certificate of existence, they'll say, oh, please go to the 4th floor. They also will not know. It's a bureaucracy. They'll just send you back and forth, like a football. You'll feel kicked from here, there. But truth is, you don't need an existence certificate. Because you exist, there is driving license. You can drive. Everyone senseless. And because you exist, there is, you can perhaps, if anything is left over, collect Social Security in the next generation. That is based on your existence. It's not for the non-existent person, the car and the driving. No, it's not the non-existent, for the non-existent person, the security. The Social Security is for the person who is perpetually insecure. And in order to be insecure, I have to exist. Otherwise, how can I be insecure? At least for that I have to exist. In order to say I am ignorant, I have to exist. All these are later, projections or superimpositions upon the I. I don't like the word superimpositions, but for the time being. These are all overlaid on the I, but that I is itself, it's immediate. It's immediately and always available. This is what we say, it's self-effulgent. That is the word we use. Meaning it is never not there. What about in sleep? Well, how will you tell me I slept very well? Because you were there. Oh, but I did not know I was not there. That's right, but that means you were there. You did not know at that time, but you knew you did not know. You see, it's all getting to the level of ontology. Very interesting. Epistemological and ontological issues now. So the I doesn't need any proof in all the 3 states of existence that we saw. Jagrat swapna sushuptishu sphutatara ya samvid ujrimbate. Ujrimbate means emerges, but here prakashate, that which shines. In all 3 states of existence, in what? One body. And of course in all body, but here it's with reference to one body in verse number 1. And here in which verse is this? 3 or 4? Verse number 4, we have in all bodies. First we had, at all times in one body. So time-wise limitation of the I was knocked off by verse number 1. Because there is no time, the I is not present in this one body. And now the spatial limitation of the I is knocked off here. And the size limitation, object-wise and space-wise, excuse me, object-wise and space-wise limitations are knocked off here by saying, what? Samvit? No, her sister, Spurti. Same thing, they are synonyms. Whether is Samvit the same as Spurti? Yes. They are just synonyms. That Atma, that self-effulgent consciousness that doesn't need any proof of its existence, it exists and it knows it exists and it knows it exists limitlessly. It limitlessly exists, it limitlessly knows and it limitlessly is. That's what it is. And so now that space-wise and object-wise limitations are being knocked off by saying, the dog also says woof woof for aham, meow meow, woof woof, whatever it says, it's all saying aham. It may not know Sanskrit, but it advertises itself in certain ways, correct? It knows it is there. It knows you are there. It knows that if it stands near the door and meows enough number of times, you will let it out because, you cannot stand it. And the dog also knows if it barks enough times, it will get extra food. It knows all that. So that I-ness is there in the dog. And of course the I-ness is there in the human being. And then what? Nara, Tiryak. And then what? Devata. We saw the story of Indra yesterday. Full of ahankara, correct? Full of I-ness. Asmakameva vijayaha, asmakameva mahima, me. And Mahima belongs to me, Mahimi. And Asmakam means ours is the glory, Vijaya, ours is the success, ours is the glory. Mahima means glory. And and Ishvara begged to differ. Ishvara came in the guise of another celestial being and then dropped a bombshell. You are not the cause of the success. The cause of the success is me. So that I notion is there. And poor Indra has been pulled and scapegoated into every Upanishad, as the person needing to gain knowledge. At least in 3 Upanishads he features, poor fellow. And like I said yesterday in the Chandogya Upanishad, he spent 101 years in the Gurukula. Yeah. And then the last class, he doesn't know where he is, he doesn't know where the teeth are, he doesn't know where the eyes are, he doesn't know anything. And finally he gets it, understands. So that's to show that even if you are a celestial, you are not spared of this study. The study is important. That you are is across the board the same. But everyone, except the Tiryags are exempted here. Except for the Tiryags, whether you are Nara or Devata, you cannot dodge from this knowledge. You cannot say, I am Devata, why should I study? All the Devatas went and studied in the Kenopanishad. And they became great and they started a lineage, that's what it says, to which we all belong. And so that is how one has to study. And that I, that which obtains as the I, even if it obtains as the I that is ignorant, it's still the I. Because the ignorance is an overlay on the I. And you just go for a polish and the ignorance is removed and the I shines. That's all it is. And so, in all these objects, the I shines, and in all these bodies also the I shines. Aham iti sakshat sputa. Sputa means sakshat, immediately available. Sakshat grihyate, sputa grihyate. It is available immediately, without a gap, without a break, without anything. It just is. Grihyate means it is understood. So whenever you say I am, you are saying I know I am. Even though I don't know who I am, I know I am. Okay? And then, sputa grihyate is clearly understood, clearly experienced. In fact, the only experience which is universal is the experience of I. I. And in the Viveka Chudamani, the teacher says, Asti kaschit swayam nityam. There is something that exists by itself and it is constant, it is unchanging. And what is it? Avasthatraya sakshi san, being the witness of all the 3 states. Panchakosha vilakshanaha. Panchakosha vilakshanaha, separate from the 5 areas where one makes mistakes, body, mind, etc. And then, yad vibhati sakalam, that which brings everything to light. And that itself which need not be ever brought to light. That is you. That is you. That is what the teacher teaches. And so, aham iti sakshat, that verse ends, sakshi rupena bhasate, that which shines, that which I obtains, in my, awareness, that consciousness which I come to know as I, as the witness of everything. And so that is not only there in different states in my life, it is there in all lives. From the Tiryag means what? From the smallest little, earthworm to the Pipilika to Brahmaji. Everything says I in its own way. Okay? And then what? Yad bhasa, by whose light, means by whose knowledge, blessed by which knowledge? Hridaya aksha deha vishayaha. Forget, forget all these three words. Just go for vishayaha. Yad bhasa vishayaha bhanti. Yad bhasa vishayaha bhanti. Let us take it that. We'll come back to this compound later. Yad bhasa vishayaha bhanti. Simple Sanskrit. By whose light all things come to light. Correct? Like even the sun. When the sun rises, all the things become evident. Correct? So many things become evident. You wake up and then what becomes evident? You were sleeping next to a lizard. That becomes evident. Sunrise. Where? In India and other such places. Yeah. And under the cloak of the night, the lizard also slept well, you also slept well. And then both of you woke up because the sun shone, and then what? The lizard took one look at you and said, "Eek, I'm out of here." I must have done something wrong. That the first darshan I had to have of this scary face at such close quarters, And then that face was also screaming. And what have I done, oh Lord, to get this kind of a morning where I was treated to a scary, screaming face? This is from the standpoint of the lizard, correct? So the sun brought it to light. Brought what? The body of the lizard to light from your standpoint, correct? And from the poor lizard, that is the real victim here. Yeah. Poor gecko, it is the victim. It's not you who are the victim, you're 100 times bigger than it. Yeah, it is as big as one of your finger. Come on, it's a small thing. And, so from the standpoint of this poor gecko, your body is brought to light, not you, because that you in the gecko is the same as the I in the gecko. So the you in the gecko is the same as the you in your body. So there is only one I in the body of the gecko manifest as the body of you. What you call you. What you call you is you. What you call gecko is also you. Oh, that's very inconvenient, yes. Truth is never convenient. So, this poor gecko who had bad prarabdha, yesterday we learnt all about prarabdha. So, this poor gecko who had bad prarabdha, what happened? Your body, which is in itself what? Is your body inert or sentient? It is itself inert. Something has to bring your body to light. And so the sun crept up on the mountains and then brought this inert body, your body, into light. When the gecko screamed, you can't hear, different frequency. And then what? Its body was brought to light by what? By the same sun. Its body is also inert. Its body was brought to light, and moreover, what was brought to light was the proximity of the two bodies. And then you screamed, poor gecko, again. And so the lizard scurried away. And then, so this is yad bhasa, by whose light, like even the sun lights up everything that it comes in contact with, vishayaha bhanti, yad bhasa, by whose light, third case, bhasa, vishayaha bhanti, all the objects that themselves cannot declare themselves to be existent come to light. That's why I said, your body comes to light for the gecko. You don't come to light because you is the gecko, okay? Yeah. Aham gecko, this is the new Mahavakya, Gecko aham, that's better. So that's what it means. So we can't lose sight of the first portion. Ya tiryam nara devata bhihi ahamiti sakshat grihyate, sphuta grihyate. So that I, which occupies the body of everything from get-go to you, is that I alone. And that I is occupying the body, but at the same time, that I is also that light of awareness, shining the light on other bodies and other things and objects which themselves cannot come to light, including your own body. Your own body is also an object of your awareness. Body is means body consciousness is, body knowledge is. So it all comes back to the I. So your body also you objectify. And you say, oh, it is not nice today. Oh, it is feeling well. Oh, I wish it was, better. It is okay. I'm dragging it all around. That is what one says about the body. So the body cannot say by itself. The body has no complexes. It is inert. Body doesn't say, I'm fat. Body has no problem. It will eat whatever is given to it. Yeah, it will tuck it all in. And, there are convenient places for all this. It's very good at packing. And, and the body is programmed. It packs for a rainy day. Because, these erratic ways of eating, it makes it think that it says better slow down the metabolism. Let me just slow down. And so it packs everything that is there. And if you eat one more thing, it has place for it. Because the skin is elastic. It's the biggest organ in the body and it is very elastic and very fat cell friendly, and so it will just take on whatever is given. The body doesn't say, I don't think I'll have one more donut. It won't say that. And so you have to say that, correct? So the body is swataha by itself. Is it chetana or achetana? Achetana. Achetana means what?
Not conscious.
Inert. Yeah, inert. Not conscious means unconscious. No. That's not what we are talking about. Inert. Insentient. Yeah. Insentient, okay? And so the body is insentient. So you, the indweller of the body, have to mind the body, have to feed it, have to starve it, whatever you do. Today is upasa, you don't eat, you have to tell it. And you have to, withdraw the food, you have to do that. Pull the plug, whatever has to be done to the body, the conscious being has to do. Correct? So that shows that the body is itself insentient. Which body are we talking about? My body? Yeah. So if your body is insentient, what about other bodies also insentient? So, yad bhasa achetanaha vishayaha bhanti. That chetana, there is the bhanti swataha achetanaha. That is hidden there and it is shown in a little, S sign, that is called avagraha. So don't say swataha chetanaha. No, swataha achetanaha. Swato chetanaha. Swataha achetanaha means in themselves insentient. What happens to them? They are brought to light, starting with the body. All objects are qualified by the word this and that. So idam pratyaya vishayaha, idam pratyaya gochara vishayaha. So meaning that which is qualified by the word idam. Whenever you refer to it, you say this thing, this body. Nobody says I body sometimes, but generally after the study of Vedanta, the understanding, the wrong understanding I body is going. So this body, this mind, these senses, like this, like the sun shines the light on everything indiscriminately, this I, this aham is the source of all light which brings everything to light. Light here means knowledge. Don't look for light. It's that knowledge which is beyond knower, beyond the divisions of knower, known. Because usually when I say knowledge, knowledge of what, correct? I know. It's a transient verb. What do you know? You know? You can't, but if I say I sit, nobody says what do you sit. No, that's different. I sit, intransient verb. I know, transient verb. And if it's a transient verb, then it needs a subject. It needs something. It is begging for something there. I know. What do you know? Then you say, I know chemistry. I know Greek. I have taken some lessons in piano. But then the Greek knowledge cancels out chemistry knowledge cancels out piano knowledge. So now you cannot say I am Sarvavit, nobody knows everything, correct? Even though one may internally feel I am all knowing, but really speaking it's an impossibility, correct? So generally knowledge is experienced, knowledge is understood, and when I say I know, that knowing is manifest in the form of the subject-object duality. So whenever I say I know, generally speaking, I am reproducing that duality. Think about it. I know. What do you know? Pot. Correct? So, in relation to the pot, what am I? Knower. What is pot? Known. And then in between us, the knower and the known, there is an invisible process that has happened. What is that? The eyes. First, the eyes have, the mind has, sent some feelers via the means of knowledge called the eyes. I heard the word pot. Go check it if it's really a pot. So the pot thought envelops the pot, as it were, brings back the information via the means of knowledge called the eye, and then pot recognition. Because the pot has already been cognized, the word pot itself brought, all kinds of pots come to mind, clay pot, brass pot, copper pot, pot belly, everything comes, to mind. All various kinds of pots come, big pot, small pot, medium-sized pot, everything has come to mind. But which one it is? It is this one. And then that knowledge takes place. So between knower, I, and known, there is knowing, means of knowledge. So knower, known, means of knowledge. This is what is called Triputi. This tripod is very much there in all cognition. In every cognition, there is a split between the knower and the known. So the knower never becomes the known. I don't say iPod. Yeah. I don't say iPod. Can't say. In fact, if the pot and I were one and the same, I cannot cognize pot. Because then the pot would become subject. Subject drigeva natu drishyate. So subject cannot cognize itself as an object. Correct? And so therefore, in all cognitions, this threefold division is there. But here, we are talking of knowledge in the form of that light of consciousness that illuminates everything, and that is beyond the division of knower, known, knowing. But how? Because you see, when I say I am knower, what is the truth of the knower? Okay, I'll give you a hint. Whatever question I ask, the answer is consciousness. Okay? So what is the truth of the knower? Consciousness. What is the truth of the known? Consciousness. So even after giving the answer, this is not fair. You have to play now. Even after giving the answer, you're not saying. And you start thinking, how can pot be consciousness? Pot is consciousness. What else is pot other than consciousness? No, it's not consciousness. What else is it? No, pot is Brahman. Well, hello, Brahman is conscious. Consciousness is Brahman. No, but you should have said Brahman. That was the other day, when all the questions, the answers were Brahman. Today it is consciousness. You have to play along. Okay. So, what is the truth of I? We have to begin again. Yeah. Don't be killjoys, okay? Yeah. What is the truth of the part? Consciousness. What does the means of knowledge depend upon? Consciousness. Yeah, that's why I didn't ask what does pot depend upon, because people even after giving the right answer would have said clay. Yeah, that's why I had to ask differently. Yeah, I had to ask differently. So, this consciousness supports the knower, correct? In other words, there is no knower without consciousness. Am I right or wrong? Yes. And there is no known. How can something be known without consciousness? Can you know something without consciousness? Say no quickly. No. And can something be, and can the means of knowledge operate independently of consciousness? No. So what is there? All there is consciousness. And that consciousness morphs into knower. When something is to be known, morphs into known, and morphs into the means of knowledge, while neither being the knower, nor being the known, nor being the means of knowledge. Got it? Now don't say no, okay? Now you have to say yes. This is called, what is that? Enforced Vedanta. So, that's what it is. That consciousness, nameless and formless in itself, takes on the form of the knower. Oh, but then how can it become the known if it has already become the knower? As though, like the light, when it is viewed through a small aperture, gives a little beam, is reflected as a beam. And that same light, when you view it through a big aperture, gives the reflection of a big orb. Big orb is the subject, knower. Small orb is the object that is known. Like that you have to see. So it's that same light. That same light manifests, as it were, supports the knower. Supports rather the status of the knower. Supports the status of the subject as the knower. Supports the status of the object as object by bringing this inert object into the light. By making the object, which is in itself not self-evident, evident. And then what? The means of knowledge which are operated by the knower, supported by consciousness, is also supported by that consciousness. Without consciousness, there is no means of knowledge. It's like the ocean with three different kinds of waves. One is a breaker, one is a surf, one is a small wave. Is there a surf possible without ocean? No. It's a manifestation of the ocean. Is there a breaker possible without ocean? No. Is there a wave possible without ocean? No. So that wave rises and drops into that ocean. Same thing with the surf, rises out of, sustained by, and drops, resolves into that ocean. Same thing with the breaker, rises, sustained, and resolves into the ocean. What does the ocean resolve into? Nothing. Ocean is in its own glory, sve mahimni tishtati. That's what it is. Sve mahimni tishtati. It depends, it remains, it abides in its own glory because it is not dependent on anything else. So just like that same ocean can support simultaneously in one area a tsunami, in another area a wave, in another area a surf. All that same ocean can support it yugapat simultaneously without undergoing any change, without undergoing any transformation. No transformation, no loss. Swarupa aparityagena rupantarapattihi. It manifests as various things without any loss in itself. Oh, I wasted myself as a tsunami, now I am slim. Ocean doesn't say that. And so this tsunami, this breaker, wave, surf, all this whole, the oceanic world, it supports. And then what? And all those resolve into that. we can say that the wave is nothing but ocean, tsunami is nothing but ocean, and then what else? Breaker is nothing but ocean, surf is nothing but ocean. But can we say it the other way around? Huh? No. Can you say ocean is nothing but tsunami? No. That is what this is all about. So, yad bhasa sakalaha vishayaha, bhanti swataha achetanaha. So, achetanaha vishayaha bhanti, themselves inert, by whose light, which transcends that knower known knowing divide, that light which supports the knower, which is manifests as the known, which is upon which the means of knowledge are dependent, itself is free of all those rows like the ocean. It just supports that and brings everything to light, which cannot come to light by themselves. And then what? But then there is there is a means. What is the means? Hridaya akshadeha vishayaha. Hridaya akshadeha, So, what is that? What are these vishayas? These vishayas start with the gross, like the body, correct? Hridaya here means mind, not heart. Aksha, eyes, rather, sense organs here. Yeah, aksha, sense organs. So, by whose light not only all objects come to light, the sense objects come to light, that we know. That we know that this consciousness lights up all the objects that we know. These objects which do not themselves come to light. They are not self-evident. There's only one thing self-evident, that is I. That is this consciousness which is I. Alright? So then what? Then we have to see something very important. It brings the objects to light. But what about the eyes and ears and the mind? They also bring objects to light, correct? The mind is in charge of sakshi pratyaksha, such as time, hunger, all these things also come to light. Witness, perception. And then the eyes, the nose, they pick up smells, pick up sight, pick up sounds. So what is their status? I thought my eyes hear, but now you are saying that the sound of the music that I am hearing is actually a blessing of consciousness. This is what is the answer given to the student in the Kena Upanishad who asks, Keneshitam patati preshitam manaha. How does the mind fall into various thoughts? Blessed by who? Impelled by which force? Because the mind itself is inert. Aksha, all the sense organs are inert. That's why, there is, dead bodies don't have ragadveshas because the sense organs don't work. Prana has gone. And then what? The Deha is also itself inert. So first this light of consciousness enters, as it were, the body-mind-sense complex, blesses the body, blesses the mind, blesses the senses in order so that they can then objectify all the Vishayas. So some inert things, because of their subtle nature, are able to shine in the borrowed light of this consciousness. So they take on the blessing of this light. And then of course the ahankara parades as I know, I found out, I am the one, I hear, I heard it, I can hear, I can see. Who is Bhagavan? Who is Ishvara? Who is Aham? Who is this light of consciousness? Forget all that, it's all me. And that me, gets into depression after a little while. Because that me is identified with the sense organs, and then what do they say? I can't see. I am, I am Badhiroham, I am deaf. Kanoham, I can only see a little bit with one eye. Yeah. Vadiroham, Kanoham. And then what? All these things, because there is that identification with the sense organs which leads to sorrow. So here, to avert that, this is a beautiful verse which talks about the truth of the vision in a very nice way. And what does it say? It says that yasya bhasa, yad bhasa, and through which, yasyaha bhasa, through whose light, what happens, hridayaksha deha vishayaha, vishayaha bhanti. That's why we took it, separately. First the objects come to light, but then what happens to the means of knowledge? The means of knowledge in the form of my own senses also are these vishayas. They are also objects, but they are slightly more subtle objects which are blessed by the light of consciousness in order to delineate and have discrete cognition about things which are objects of hearing, etc. So this light of consciousness becomes shrotrasya shrotram, chakshushash chakshuhu, vachoha vacham, manaso manaha. What is that? The ear of the ear, the eye of the eye, the mind of the mind. So that is what it is. This is the ear of the ear. This is the boss, big ear. And big ear keeps this little tiny ears where only you can hear a certain frequency, in check. It says all the sense organs are reduced to journalists. They are reporters. And unlike journalists in India, they are very objective. Yeah. Yeah. The media in India is a sad situation. Getting sadder by the day. Yeah. So it's all owned by, by offshore media. India has outsourced its media. And they report to other bosses, offshore bosses. So, but that's not like here. Here, the ears and the eyes, etc., are also blessed by that light of consciousness, and they are blessed to discreetly look at all the Vishayas separately in their own kingdom, in their own realm, the means of knowledge, the Pratyaksha Pramana, they all operate because they have been given the portfolio and the capacity to operate as journalists, as objective journalists. Really, the sense organs the Ragadveshas don't come into the picture. Think about it. The sense of smell says, I think that is a bakery. I think I'm passing a bakery. It just reports. Bakery asti. Correct? Yeah. And then what happens? Pavlov's dog. That's what happens. Why? Because the mind gets involved and the mind says, what a wonderful idea. And then the karmendriyas, meaning the legs, the sturdy legs, which were going just for a walk. In fact, they were going to, walk off the baked goods from yesterday. Okay? That was the idea. But then, somehow they found that here also the smell of the fresh pastry is just assailing the nostrils. And before one knows it, the legs have made a turn. And before one knows it, the hands have opened the shop door. And before one has recognized it, the body is ordering at the counter. So that all happens later. That's because the mind is involved. The mind says, this is a great idea, go there. And so the mind is in charge of this sabotage of the walk. You cannot blame the senses. They are very objective journalists. They just say, croissant smell, bakery smell, and then they narrow it down. Butter smell must be croissants, inference, correct? So this is pratyaksha and inference, anumana together, operating, and then the croissant has already started to dance in the head. Yeah, various kinds of croissants, filled, unfilled, all kinds of croissants, covered with that, what is that, sprinkling of some sugar on top, and covered with almonds, all kinds of croissants, gluten-free, everything dances in the head. And the mind succumbs, who am I in front of you? And of course, the crescent moon is very holy because it reminds us of Lord Shiva. So then you say, well, I didn't do my prayers today, so let me offer my prayers to the crescent moon in the form of croissant moon. And then what will happen as a result? I become one with Lord Shiva. This is the rationale. The buddhi and the ahankara have this nice rationale. Ahankara has trapped the buddhi and has held it ransom to come up with an excuse to have this croissant. And then still the buddhi is not relenting. Come on, tomorrow is Mahashivaratri. Okay. This is your prayer to Lord Shiva. All right. So you see, you cannot complain that the what's its name? That the aksha means the sense organs are to blame, or the deha, deha means the organs of action. They are not to blame. And the manaha, the hridaya here is manaha. Ultimately, even though I said mind, here we are not talking of the mind. The mind is also not to blame. The mind just says, I think it's a great idea. The buddhi says, all right, because the ahankara has captured, the ahankara is holding the buddhi by the scruff of its collar and saying, say yes, say yes, say yes, and is sitting on the mind so that it doesn't say no. And so therefore, this, or it's holding the buddhi in one hand and the ahankara, the mind in the other, and knocking the two together. Say yes, say yes. All right, this is what is happening. And so, themselves, all these things are inert. But then they are brought to life in order, they are given CPR and brought to life so that they can, they can bring the croissant to light, the crescent to light. That is what the whole thing is. Very, very beautiful. So, but then what we have to remember, swataha, all these things, all these vishayahas, including the sense organs, the organs of actions and the mind, swataha achetanaha. Everything is achetana. Pot is also achetana. Mind is also achetana. But how can the mind cognize the pot? Because the mind has been blessed by consciousness to operate the means of knowledge and bring the pot to light. But really speaking, itself also has to be brought to light. That is what the whole thing is. And then what? Tam bhasyaihi pihitarka mandalanibham. So that ya in the beginning, let's go back, that ya qualifies spurtihi, and here spurtim. So ya in the beginning, that ya qualifies spurtihi. Ya spurtihi tiryang naradevataabhihi aham iti antaha means within, sputa grihyate is clearly understood. Yad bhasa, by whose light, by whose awareness, by whose presence, hridayaksha deha vishayaha, the objects of the mind and the sense organs, also in themselves inert, are also brought to light. This much we have seen. Tam bhasyaihi, by that light, they are illumined by that light. And what is that light like is very interesting. That light, why don't I see this light? First of all, it's you. You don't see you. You only see not you. you know. But then why don't I know this? This is so beautiful. Why don't I know this? Why don't I know all the things that happened, you know, between me and the croissant? Why didn't I know this earlier until this class? What's the use of telling you? Didn't stop you. You still ate the croissant. Yeah, that's a different thing. But why didn't I know? Because this knowledge, self-knowledge, this vision is nibham, sadrisham, is like what? Pihitarka mandala. Pihita is eclipsed, covered. Arka mandala, the orb of the sun. So the orb of the sun, in the light of the orb of the sun is not really, you know, when the orb of the sun is there, everything comes to light, including itself, correct? Yeah. But then if you say, why in spite of this wonderful operation of how this consciousness operates, how come I am still self-ignorant? How come I don't know this? Because it is a pihitarka mandala. It is like, nibham means sadrisham, like. Like what? Pihita arka mandala. Arka mandala, the orb of the sun, pihita, covered by the eclipse or covered by some kind of clouds. Some kind of an obstruction is there, and that obstruction is called self-ignorance. Pihita, covered, arka mandala, orb of the sun, nibham, like the covered orb of the sun, it is not understood for want of a vision. Because you can never say the sun is covered. Even in the eclipse, the sun is not covered. Because the sun is there, you can view the eclipse. Of course, indirectly. Yeah. And neither can you say, oh, today is such a cloudy day, sun has not come. Of course the sun is there. What do you mean it hasn't come? Has it not risen? Yeah, it has risen, but I don't see it. That's not my problem if you don't see it. That's a wrong understanding. I don't see it means because of the clouds are covering the sun is a wrong expression. What is the correct expression? Because of the presence of the sun, I see the clouds. This is the nice thing. This is our only hope for self-knowledge, because I see the covering. And I see the covering, why? Because I am that sun that shines the light on its own covering. And so the covering becomes as though, because nothing can cover the sun, nothing can cover Atma either, because Atma covers everything. Yeah, apnoti sarvam. That which covers everything is Atma. And then, you know, when one has recovered from this, one can see that this covering is really as though. And so, the one who knows this, the yogi, the yati means the sadhu, the renunciant, and the one who has put an effort to know this, for such a person, you know, yogi, for this yogi, what does the yogi do? Tam spurtim sada bhavayan. Yeah. Tam spurtim sada bhavayan. Always contemplating, always dwelling, always one with that light of consciousness. One with means what? Identifying as. Always. Bhavayan, not doesn't mean contemplating on. Literally means identifying as that alone. That spurti, and that spurti is qualified by two things. One is that which lights up all bodies. What are the bodies? You know, celestials, human beings and animal bodies in the form of the cognition of the eye. And because, and it clearly shines as I, and because of whose light of consciousness, because of whose awareness, the sense organs are blessed with the ability to cognize other objects, all of which are by themselves insentient. That, you know, and that which sheds light on its own covering, that which is so great has to shed light on its own covering and say, here is where the covering is. That's why Atma is not opposed to ignorance. It doesn't say go to class, go to Vedanta class. Why did you sign up with a 1 month course and you're missing so many classes? Why are you always, saying this? Go to class. Why doesn't Atma say that? Because Atma just puts the light on everything. If there is a covering, it will shine the light on that too. So the one who clearly knows all this and the one who identifies as that Spurti, Tam Bhavayan, the one that identifies, see, and here is a very nice pun, because Bha is used repeatedly. Bha for light, okay? So, ya tiryam naradevatavihi ahamitya antasputa grihyate yadbhasa hridayakshadeha vishaya bhanti svato chetana tam bhasyai pihitarka mandala nibham spurtim sada bhavayan. Yeah, that bha is common in everything. Bha is the light. Bha is the light of awareness. Bha is the objects that this awareness brings to light. And Bha is that light of the operation of the sense organs. And Bha is that identification of the yogi who knows I am all Bha. Yeah. Yeah. That's what it is. It's all Bha, 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 Bha. Don't say ba ba ba. That will make you sound like a sheep. It's Bha, Mahaprana. Okay? Yeah. Yeah. Bha. You have to breathe on the ba. Bha. So that Bha, Ahamasmi, the one who knows, one who has identified completely with Bha, from start to finish, it's all Bha, 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 Bha. There's no room for anything else. And that Bha, that yogi's feet, I worship. Then we don't need to rush. We have plenty of time. So we'll stop today. I have to go to some Shivaratri programs, So we'll stop here now and then we'll pick it up when next weekend. Yeah, we have plenty of time. Om Purnamadah Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om. Don't forget to come at 4 o'clock. Yeah. And then from tomorrow you can have a little freer schedule. Yes.